Well guys, it definitely feels good to be a Laker fan right now. Following yet another win last night, beating the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic getting revenge while doing it, the Lakers improved their record to 15-4 in their past 19 games now. Better than teams like Boston, who they beat in that time frame, the Denver Nuggets, who they also beat, or even a team like Golden State and or the Portland Trail Blazers, all of which have a top 7 record in that 19 game time frame. So don't go around saying they don't have a quality win, whether you're talking about this season or simply that past 19 game time frame, as they have multiple of them. And then to go along with it, they've been very good on defense and sporting a 107.4 defensive rating, the best in the entire league and by about a 1 point differential. And then on top of that, having a net rating of plus 9.7, the third best in the NBA, an offensive rating of 117.1, the 8th best, and all around have really been clicking and coming together as a team in that time frame too. And although a bunch and pretty much the majority of credit does tend to go to Luka Doncic and LeBron, maybe Austin Reeves a little bit, but primarily those 2 or 3, let's not take away from the role players and the major contribution that they have made. In my opinion, they would not be where they're at without the role players, and that's not really even an opinion, it's pretty much a fact. Guys off the bench like Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Jordan Goodwin even, or guys in the starting lineup like Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes, they would not be here without them. And with that in mind here, we're going to talk about the contribution they have made, how the Lakers' new look game plan and overall system has benefited them with the arrival of Luka Doncic, but simply changing things up in general, and then most importantly, the credit that they have not gotten but truly do deserve. We're going to talk about that with a particular emphasis on 4 of them, those 4 being Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, and Jared Vanderbilt. But before we get too far into it, I'd like to quickly invite you to join our NBA Discord. If you love talking about the NBA or simply the Lakers, and in real time with other NBA fans, then I guarantee you would enjoy it. Or if you don't have Discord and want to hear my thoughts on more NBA topics and the Lakers in general, along with added content that I don't post in my videos, then feel free to follow me on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, and there will be a link for both of them in the video description down below. But now getting back to our topic, and again, between the 4 of Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jared Vanderbilt, I for one think they have simply not gotten enough credit, whether it be an underrated or simply not acknowledged impact on offense, defense, or even both of them. I think they're not getting enough credit, so we're going to talk about them. And beginning with the guys in the starting lineup, that being Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes, they've definitely set their game up, and especially for Rui Hachimura. Gotta give the guy credit, he's been playing well for their team and really showing out on both ends of the court since the trade happened, playing in all 9 games so far and actually leading their team in minutes in that time frame too, averaging about 35 minutes per game, and that really tells you about the trust and confidence that JJ Redick has in him. And not only that, but really playing well on offense, averaging about 17.1 points per game, the 4th best in their team in that time frame, along with grabbing 6 rebounds per game, and that's pretty good for Hachimura. Then about 2 assists per game, having the 4th highest plus-minus rating on their team in that time frame, and like I mentioned, actually playing well and impacting the game on both ends of the court, something that's been a problem for him, but definitely not in that 9-game time frame. Whether you're talking about offense, obviously you can point to the numbers here, the scoring average per game, they're getting him more involved, and he's definitely benefited from the on-ball gravity of Luka Doncic and LeBron on the court. They're finding him, whether it be for open 3-point shots, backdoor cuts, the mismatch around the rim. They're doing a really good job with that, and it's directly benefiting Hachimura without even having to play on the ball. Or in regard to 3-point shooting, it's gone down a little bit, but I'm not too mad about it given that the volume's gone up for him. In their past 9 games now, he's been attempting 5.9 of them per game, and for Rui Hachimura, that's very high volume 3-point shooting. If he can little by little get that up and become a better, more reliable high volume 3-point shooter for them, that's a really good benefit and something that they really need to have around Luka Doncic and LeBron. But even apart from that, or offense in general, we gotta talk about Hachimura on defense here too. And no, I'm not joking about that, the guy's been making a good, positive impact on defense lately, and it's really helped out their entire team. Whether you're talking about on-ball defense or off-ball defense, Hachimura has really been more committed and a lot improved on defense lately. I mean, taking on the Nikola Jokic matchup the other night, no, he obviously did not do that alone or defend him or lock him up one-on-one, but he definitely did have to fight against him and fight for positioning down low, whether it be in the post and trying to front him, or at least trying to front him enough to get help behind him and wait for the shadow coverage, or for boxing out, and whatever it might be, he did really good in that matchup and gotta give him credit for it. Or whether it's off-ball defense, being a help side rim protector for them, really helping out Jackson Hayes in that regard. I mean, he had an emphatic block on Max Christie the other night, and that's only one snippet of it. He's been playing good help side defense, whether he gets the block or not, doing good in that regard. Playing good on-ball defense on the perimeter, definitely stepping up his game, and probably the best perimeter defense I've seen from him. Hopefully he can keep that up, but simply with the physicality down low, playing like more of a power forward on defense lately, playing good committed off-ball defense, and being a good help side rim protector, definitely improvement for Hachimura here, and I'd love to see it. After Hachimura though, cannot forget to mention Jackson Hayes. We often do, and the guy simply has not gotten enough credit lately, especially post Anthony Davis trade, and I've been guilty of it myself, but I'm glad to say that Hayes has been really good for their team, and especially on defense too. I mean, I for one did not see it coming, but the guy's been a borderline elite rim protector this season, not only after the Anthony Davis trade, but really for a majority of this season. It's been shocking and a really good development for him. I mean, they definitely needed it after trading away Anthony Davis, and him becoming their lone center in the rotation, the one they can actually rely on and is actually under a standard contract. So from that standpoint, really has helped their team. Per B-Ball Index, he's actually been an A+ rim protector this season, overall being a great defender and a very impactful defender at that. Not to mention his switchability on defense. You know, maybe can't defend a guard one-on-one, but does have the ability to switch, not only reliant on drop coverage or being stuck at the rim, but actually can move his feet and defend the three-point line a bit too. But then offensively, he's actually been a really good fit for them here as well. No, maybe not doing anything spectacular, but in reality, they don't need that from him. All they need from Hayes is to be a good pick and roll partner, a good lob threat, and a good offensive rebounder. All of which he's done for their team and actually at a really high level as well. I mean, in their past 9 games now, leading their team in field goal percentage, shooting 75% from the field, averaging about 8 points per game to go with it, 1.3 offensive rebounds per game, and only about 22 minutes per game. And again, simply doing exactly what their team needs. Not anything spectacular, but staying on the floor, not fouling too much, rebounding well, protecting the rim well, and overall being a good two-way impactful member of the rotation. Now again, he might not get talked about much and not nearly enough in my opinion, but whether you want to admit it or not, Hayes has been a rock-solid member of the rotation, and especially after the Anthony Davis trade. After those two though, gotta mention Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, I feel like whenever the guys on the court for their team, their defense automatically becomes better, and well, the numbers support that statement too. Following the February 2nd trade, of their lineups that played over 10 minutes, of which there are 8 of them, all of their top 3 defensive lineups and even top 5 defensive lineups have included Dorian Finney-Smith, with their 3rd best defensive rated lineup including himself, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves, putting together a 100 defensive rating, and that's pretty good in 27 minutes played together so far. That's quite a bit, and that's often been their closing lineup, end of 4th quarter lineup, and a really good go-to lineup for them. Then for their 2nd best defensive rated lineup, including Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, and Austin Reeves, putting together a defensive rating of 96.6. And then for their best defensive rated lineup over 10 minutes anyways, including Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka Doncic, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Austin Reeves, putting together an 81.5 defensive rating. So no matter what way you look at it, the guys improved their defense, and whether it be in a small ball lineup, him playing more at the 5 or 4, or them playing within a bigger lineup, Dorian Finney-Smith playing more at the 3 or 4, whatever it might be, he fits their defense and pretty much any lineup they have on the court as well. And not only defensively, but offensively too, shooting about 41% from beyond the arc this season, in a little bit of a drought lately, but still finding a way to make an impact, whether it be on defense, getting offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, probably being the best at boxing out in their entire team, which simply does not get talked about enough in my opinion, doing all the little things on the court that you really can't find in the box score. I mean, take a look at this play on defense for example, taking on the Kyrie Irving point of attack matchup, getting screened by Naji Marshall and about to switch onto him, but then having the IQ to notice that the pass will likely go to the corner on PJ Washington, especially with LeBron coming down to help on the roll by Naji Marshall. So then Dorian Finney-Smith all out sprints to the corner, contesting the PJ Washington shot and likely forcing a miss that probably would have been a make if not for him rotating like that. That's Dorian Finney-Smith for you, simply a guy that does the little things on the court that you really can't find the stat sheet, but they amount to winning, and gotta give the guy credit. He's a team player, a winning player, and a guy that you definitely want to share the court with. But then finally for Jarred Vanderbilt, I've talked a bunch about him lately, so I won't too much in this one, but gotta give the guy a mention as well. Since coming back from his injury, a lot of people thought that he might not look the same or make the same impact on defense, but I think he's proven that wrong at this point. Has been a great defender for their team, whether it be in spot minutes to simply cause havoc and wreak disruption out there. He's done that for their team, taking on the most difficult matchups on the court, anything from a guard at the point of attack, a wing player, or even Nikola Jokic the other night, making a spot impact in that regard. He's done that for their team and pretty much does anything they ask of him. And even on offense lately, knocking down a couple of 3-point shots, having his first multi 3-point shot game made this season last night, making 2 of them against Dallas, and actually showing that he can be a little bit of a 3-point shooting threat at times. No matter what way you look at it, love watching Vando, love the effort that he plays with, and simply the Energizer Bunny of the rotation as well. But with that being said, I think that'll do it for the undercredited members of the rotation, especially lately. And no, not to say that other guys have not made an impact, but I simply wanted to highlight these 4 today. Before we wrap it up though, I'm going to answer a question from a channel member, and if you want your question answered in the future, feel free to join the channel. And this one comes from the Notorious CRG, asking, do you have any doubts or apprehension at all that Luka will not sign the extension with us? And well, for me personally, no, not really. I think they've really impressed him, and after making a trade for him, they've listened to him, even tried to make another trade for him that he may or may not have advocated for, that being the Mark Williams trade, and simply trying to add a center that he wants to play with and to maybe grow with their team. So definitely have impressed him, they've listened to him, have been very open to anything he wants, and from that alone, kind of have been willing to do something that the Mavericks were not willing to do, aka listen to him and be open to his requests. So if they keep that up, I think it will be smooth sailing to a contract extension or simply a new contract with him. So at this point, no, definitely not any doubts or apprehension that Luka will not sign with them. But with that being said, I think that will wrap it up for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.